On this channel you'll already find reviews on the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and the Apple Watch Series 9. Apple's Ultra watches are specifically designed for outdoor athletes, and the Series 9, primarily promoted as a smartwatch, is now well suited as a sports watch as well. However, both watches have differences not only in terms of price. In this video we will have a look at which of both watches is the better choice for athletes. So in this video we will not talk about all the features of the watches, because for this I already have my separate reviews. Here we more talk about the differences so that you know which watch is the better choice for you. So let's get started, have fun. The first difference concerns how both watches are built, because one thing that athletes have criticized about the Apple Watches over the last years was their lack of durability, which was especially noticeable in outdoor sports. So the Apple Watch Ultra and now the Ultra 2 have an entirely new construction. While the Series 9 comes in aluminum or stainless steel options, the Ultra 2 uses titanium, which is significantly higher quality and more robust. Stainless steel is also quite high quality, though not quite at the level of titanium, but in this version the Series 9 is also priced almost at the same level as the Ultra 2. The aluminum version of the watch is currently available from around $400, the stainless steel version is priced at around $700, and the Ultra 2 is available for just under $800. However, not only do the materials differ, but also the size. The Series 9 comes in two different size options, one with a case diameter of 41mm and another with 45mm, with both versions being 10.7mm thick. The Ultra 2 on the other hand is only available in one version with a case diameter of 49mm and a thickness of 14.4mm. The weight also varies accordingly. The Series 9 in the aluminum version weighs 32 or 39 grams depending on the size, and in the stainless steel version it's 42 or 51 grams. The Ultra 2 on the other hand weighs 61 grams for the case alone, and there is additional weight for the band you choose. So you should be aware that the Ultra 2 is noticeably thicker, bigger and heavier than the Series 9, which you'll definitely feel when you wear it. So especially when you have smaller wrists, you should consider this in advance. The purpose of the robust construction of the Ultra 2 is to make the watch more durable and suitable for outdoor activities. The display is also better protected with slightly wider borders, and the rotating crown on the edge of the case is surrounded by an extra protective layer. Additionally, unlike the Series 9, the Ultra 2 uses sapphire glass, which is particularly scratch and break resistant. But to be honest, I didn't have any scratches on the Series 8 either, which I wore for almost a year for almost every single day. However, the difference in construction is evident in the fact that the Series 9 is water resistant up to 50 meters, while the Ultra 2 is water resistant up to 100 meters. This allows the Ultra 2 to be used for diving up to a depth of 40 meters, which I would definitely advise against with the Series 9. Furthermore, the Apple Watch Ultra 2 exclusively offers a dive computer app, which can be downloaded from the App Store, as well as a depth gauge and water temperature sensor. And this also applies to high-speed water sports, as it's not just about the water depth, but also about the speed at which you might hit the water. Therefore, sports like water skiing are easily possible with the Ultra 2, but less so with the Series 9. So ultimately, just looking at the design of both watches, it's totally up to you. Do you rather prefer a high quality and super robust watch, then the Ultra 2 is the better choice? Or do you rather prefer a lightweight watch that you don't really notice during your everyday life? Then probably you might prefer the Series 9. The second difference between the Series 9 and the Ultra 2 is the display. As mentioned earlier, both watches are different in size, and as a result the display sizes also vary. The 41mm version of the Series 9 features a 352x430 pixel display, the 45mm version has a 396x484 pixel display, and the Ultra 2 has a 410x502 pixel display. However, the displays of both watches differ primarily in terms of brightness. Both watches have received updates compared to their predecessors. The Series 8 had a display with a brightness of up to 1000 nits, while the Ultra had 2000 nits, and now the Series 9 has 2000 nits, and the Ultra 2 even has 3000 nits. So in theory, the Ultra 2's display is 50% brighter than that of the Series 9, which might sound like a significant drastic difference, but to be honest, you don't really notice that difference at all. Both watches feature OLED displays, which are traditionally very bright, high in contrast and have some vivid colors, and to be honest, I never found any previous Apple Watches to be not bright enough. From my point of view, I can see that the Ultra 2 is slightly brighter than the Series 9 in some instances, but you'd need to look very closely to notice a 50% difference. The most significant difference is noticeable when using the respective flashlights of the watches. In those cases, the Ultra 2 can illuminate the darkness better. However, as I said, in most cases you won't notice the 1000 nit difference or 50% difference in brightness. You will definitely not notice that. The Series 9 also has a beautiful, very bright display. Next, let's talk about probably the biggest difference between the Ultra 2 and the Series 9, and the reason why most people prefer the Ultra 2 over the Series 9, and that is the battery life. The battery life in general is the biggest drawbacks to Apple Watches in general, because no matter how impressive all of the features are, the watches typically last just 1 or 1.5 days. So according to Apple, the Series 9 actually just lasts up to 18 hours. In contrast, the Ultra 2 according to Apple can last up to 36 hours, which is double the Series 9's battery life. But how do both watches actually perform in terms of the battery life? Is the Ultra 2 really that much better than the Series 9? So here's a glimpse into a typical day in my life. I had both watches fully charged in the morning, so I started with 100% battery on each. After that I went for a half-hour run. Surprisingly, the Ultra 2 still had 100% battery, while the Series 9 had 96% battery. After a 5-minute rest period, I headed straight to the gym. Following a 40-minute workout, the Ultra 2 had 97% battery remaining and the Series 9 had 90%. I then used the watches normally throughout the day and also tracked my sleep at night. The next morning, 24 hours after charging both watches to 100%, the Ultra 2 still had 64% battery and the Series 9 had 31%. This means the Ultra 2 would roughly last for 3 days, while the Series 9 would last for 1.5 days. So overall, the battery life of the Ultra 2 is significantly better than that of the Series 9, although it's still not at the level of dedicated sports watches, of course. Two more differences between the two watches also concern the hardware. One is the action button, which you'll only find on the Apple Watch Ultra or Ultra 2. This button is designed to trigger a specific action immediately, like starting a workout. You can customize what feature this button serves. For example, as I said, you can use it to start a workout instantly with one press, while the Series 9 has a 3, 2, 1 countdown before starting the recording. This can be useful, for instance, if you want to start your workout right as you cross a starting line in a competition. Another hardware feature exclusive to the Ultra models is the built-in siren. It can be activated in emergencies. It is up to 86 decibels loud, audible from up to 100 meters away according to Apple. This is primarily for emergency situations, and it can particularly be useful and essential in outdoor environments like in the mountains. So for emergency cases, the Series 9 also provides fall and accident detection, emergency calls and some other safety features, but the siren is exclusive to the Ultra. In my videos, I always test the GPS accuracy of the watches. This is crucial because an inaccurate GPS also leads to other inaccurate data such as distances or speed. Both watches use different GPS technologies. The Series 9 uses the classic GPS, while the Ultra 2 employs a dual frequency GPS system, which means it can simultaneously access multiple frequencies from multiple satellites. We are familiar with this multiband technology from various newer Garmin sports watches, as well as newer watches from Polar, Suunto and Coros. In many of my practical tests, I have shown that multiband GPS is indeed slightly more accurate than regular GPS, though the difference is not really significant. But regardless of the GPS technology used, in the end it's just about how accurate the watches are. So let's have a look at how accurate both watches track my training sessions. Here I always perform the following test. I go into the forest and walk forth and back the exact same way on narrow paths. This means that the recorded route should ideally consist of 2 segments precisely overlapping each other. And that's pretty much the case with both watches. Here you can see the recorded route of the Series 9 in red and that of the Ultra 2 in blue. To be honest, I don't see any significant differences between the two watches. As I mentioned, both are accurate, but I can't confirm that the Ultra 2 with multiband is more accurate than the Series 9 without multiband. This is something I already noticed last year with the first Ultra and the Series 8. Accuracy is not only crucial for GPS but also for the heart rate monitoring. Both watches have the same heart rate sensor and should therefore produce similar results. However, I have found that smaller and slimmer watches, like in this case the Series 9, tend to lead to slightly more accurate results than heavier or bigger watches such as the Ultra 2. So let's have a look at how accurate both of the watches track my heart rate. Here you can see the data of the Ultra 2 in blue for one of my running sessions in a direct comparison with a chest strap in red. As we can see, both curves are nearly identical, with the average heart rate deviating by only 0.12 beats per minute. This is truly a perfect result. Then this is the result for the Series 9 for another running session, and here it's also perfect, arguably even a bit better than the Ultra 2. The average heart rate differs by only 0.02 beats per minute, so it really couldn't be any better. But as I mentioned, the Ultra 2 also performed exceptionally well. During strength training, the Ultra 2 showed a pattern where it was accurate at the beginning of many workouts, but missed some heart rate increases in between, then performed well again towards the end. This is likely not related to the timing, but rather a sporadic issue in recognizing heart rate increases. The Series 9 had a notably better performance in this context. For example, here it only missed one heart rate increase, otherwise it was very accurate. So overall, both watches are highly accurate when compared to other sports watches and smartwatches, but in my experience the Series 9 slightly outperforms the Ultra 2 in this aspect. Alright, so to sum up the differences between the Ultra 2 and the Series 9, you may have noticed that I didn't really talk about the sports features too much in this video. And this is because, in terms of the software, both watches are nearly identical, with almost all of the sports, health and fitness features found on the Ultra 2 also being available on the Series 9. So the most significant differences relate to the hardware instead, including the construction and materials. The Ultra 2 is more high quality and robust, but also heavier. Additionally, there is the display, which is brighter but not significantly more noticeable in most scenarios. The dual frequency GPS system is more accurate, but not really significantly either. The most substantial difference is in battery life. There is also the action button and the built-in siren. Moreover, the two watches differ significantly in price, with the Ultra 2 having a roughly double price tag compared to the Series 9. In the end, you'll need to decide for yourself if these differences are worth the extra cost. For me personally, the significantly better battery life of the Ultra 2 would likely be enough, but even then, its battery life falls short compared to dedicated sports watches. I'm definitely looking forward to what the next year holds, as Apple celebrates its 10th anniversary of the Apple Watch, and perhaps there will be a significant improvement in battery life by that time. But for now, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of both watches. Which one do you prefer and why? If you found this video interesting or helpful, you could really support me and my channel here by giving this video a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss any more videos in the future, you should definitely also subscribe to this channel. But for now, thanks a lot for watching and see you next time.